From the Xavier University Television Studio, this is Xavier News. Your campus, your region, your world. This is Xavier News.
Good afternoon, Xavier Musketeers. Today is September 23rd, 2022, and I am Alexa Cruiser.
I am Maite Delgado, and this is Xavier News.
Congratulations to the cast and crew of Xavier Theater's production of Rabbit Hole by David Lindsay-Abaire. The show ran this past Friday through Sunday to great success. The theater department and Xavier's Psi Chi organization also collaborated to host a talkback after the show Saturday night to discuss the theme of grief at the center of the play and how it impacted the audience as well as the actors performing. Special thanks to Angie Neflin, Olivia Torre, and Anna Snyder for putting together this event together. The next show in the Xavier Theater lineup is the musical Something Rotten, which will run for 2 weekends, October 14th through 16th and October 21st through 23rd. It will be a perfect opportunity to enjoy time with your family during Family Weekend. Tickets are available on the Xavier Theater Instagram and Facebook website.
This week, President Joe Biden went on CBS's 60 Minutes and claimed he believes the COVID-19 pandemic is over, saying, "The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work with it, but the pandemic is over." This is not all talk either. Recently, the weekly number of deaths from COVID was at its lowest since March 2020, right before the pandemic broke out. This is great news for everyone who is really finally ready to put this pandemic behind them.
Reality competition shows, including Dancing with the Stars and The Voice, started their new seasons this week. Dancing with the Stars features Charlie D'Amelio, Selma Blair, Jordan Sparks, and more, and can now be streamed on Disney+. The Voice brought on a new coach, Camila Cabello, who is competing against returning coaches Blake Shelton, Gwen Stefani, and John Legend for this opportunity to coach this season's winner. Speaking of The Voice, one of its original coaches and Maroon 5 frontman, Adam Levine, was accused of having an affair with 23-year-old model Sumner Stroh. Meanwhile, Levine and his wife are expecting their third child together. Stroh leaked inappropriate Instagram messages she received from Levine, one in which he asked permission to name his child after her.
Leo tells us about the Queen City Pollinators Project and how they help our city's bee population.
I believe our organization stands out from others by our passion and how excited we get from just seeing any insect anywhere in our environment and in our ecosystem. I think each of us provides a really cool skill set, and when we come together, we are unstoppable. And I also want to give shout out to our community and being in the city of Cincinnati, because I think a lot of people have this dedication to the city and their community and their environment. And so getting passionate about the other things that are living here, it sparks a lot of passion and excitement. Also, I am all about saving our pollinators. I think they have some incredible life histories. I think just anything you can see a pollinator doing, the fact that it visits a flower and supports an entire ecosystem, I am enthralled, and I love insects. I'm going to go to school for insects. I am all about learning and educating. Our main mission and our main goal is to make sure that even no matter how big of a garden you have or what accessibility you have, that there's still things that you can do to save pollinators, whether it's putting a water dish out or even just getting to know what's native and what pollinators are in your neighborhood. And hopefully if we start locally, we'll eventually inspire people globally to help save our pollinators.
We all three of us, had full-time lives before we started QCPP. We are passionate about this, and the work that we've undertaken is not it's not something where you just write a letter and stick a stamp on the envelope. You know, we spend 20 to 30 hours a week in gardens of all kinds, doing all, and you know, on Zoom and in people's yards, teaching and spreading the mission. So I think the hardest thing is balancing, as I like to say, my day job with my passion, which is spreading this mission. For me, I was inspired by the opportunity to get the message out there that pollinators need protection, and it's actually pretty easy to protect pollinators. A few simple things that people can do in their own backyard can really enhance the number of pollinators in a community. And I could do that by myself, but I have a day job. So when I joined, you know, forces with these other two gals, we automatically said, this is a big thing, we can do big things with it. I like doing big things.
I was doing some macro photography years ago, and I was looking at flowers and trying to get details, and I started to see the insects that were on the flowers, and previously I had been really afraid of them, and I realized that they didn't really care that I was there. They were just going about their business and doing their job. And so it got me interested in beekeeping because, like I said, I was afraid of them before, and now I sort of had this new appreciation for them.
And the fact that we are not so narrowly focused. We're not just about monarchs, we're not just about honeybees, we're not just about native bees, we're about all the pollinators. We truly believe protect the pollinators, protect the world.
On September 10th, SpaceX Falcon launch engine achieved its 14th successful landing following the launch to deposit 34 more Starlink internet satellites and AST's new Blue Walker 3 satellite. The Blue Walker is part of the AST's plan to create a space-based mobile broadband network. It's a 693 square feet and weighs 3,300 pounds, and it's this size that has astronomers concerned. AST's plan to introduce even more satellites at this size or bigger means that they may begin to obscure the visibility of the stars in the sky. The plan and this plan of SpaceX and their Starlink, which has already affected some of astronomers' work and has led to the creation of a group known as the IAU Center for the Protection of the Dark and Quiet Sky from the Satellite Constellation Inference.
Hey anime fans, don't miss out on the Queen City Comic Expo this weekend. You can meet many beloved comic artists and famous actors from TV shows and movies, such as Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future, William Shatner from Star Trek, Bonnie Wright from Harry Potter, Cara Buono from Stranger Things, voice actors from Batman, the animated series, and more. It will be from September 23rd through the 25th at the Duke Energy Convention Center. Remember to mark down the dates.
Swift attended Musketeer Mayhem this weekend and a tournament run by Xavier's club tennis team. Many of the surrounding states. Some of their schools in the tournament were Xavier's Michigan, Purdue, Miami, West Virginia, and many more. They played 4 games, and there was a range of singles, doubles, mixed doubles being played. It was held at Linder Family Tennis Center, which is home to some major tournaments such as Cincinnati Open. Xavier Club Tennis hosts the tournament twice a year, so make sure to come and see some of the tennis in the spring.
Hurricane Fiona grows into a Category 4 as the storm finishes its destruction in Puerto Rico and makes its way to Bermuda. The hurricane has severely impacted the water supply, and the electrical infrastructure and generation facilities throughout the island of Puerto Rico, leaving roughly 70% of citizens without power as of Wednesday afternoon. Current efforts to restore electricity are being delayed by after effects of the storm: severe flooding, impassable roads, deteriorating equipment, and downed lines. Puerto Rico Governor Pedro Pierluisi is hopeful of a steady and gradual improvement of electricity, despite the island seeing 10 to 16 inches of rainfall, with some areas experiencing more than 25 inches. Pierluisi has signed an executive order to ensure residents of the island have access to food. However, some residents worry that response efforts will not be long-term. The Federal Emergency Management Agency plans to send personnel to help with response efforts. Along with this federal effort, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services declared the island to have a public health emergency and currently is dispatching teams.
In other ecological news, after southeastern Taiwan was hit by a strong 6.9 earthquake, Japan has hit with warnings pertaining to the latest tsunami that is supposed to happen near Okinawa. Residents within that area have been advised to steer clear of the coastline, avoid getting themselves either swept away or from drowning within the ocean depths. Back in Taiwan, there are at least 146 injuries, 1 death, a house knocked down, and a train derailed. Survivors are still being searched for by local firefighters, and those who have been injured are being hospitalized. Please pray for those who are suffering in Taiwan as Japanese citizens residing in Okinawa, where the next intense natural disaster is supposed to take place.
Oy vey! And here we are with one of the worst, if not the worst film of 2022, let alone all of the behind-the-scenes drama in Olivia Wilde's latest feature, Don't Worry, Darling. Almost all of the actors and other crew members, including Harry Styles and Wilde, both of whom were in a strained relationship during filming, have beef with each other. This may have contributed to the negative reviews it has received during filming, including a whopping 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. The only saving grace would be Florence Pugh, who, as always, delivered a knockout performance.
All right, that's all from the news desk.
Hello everybody, my name is Drew Collins and you're watching Sports Shorts. Let's get started with the professional sports here in the Tri-State. Starting with the Cincinnati Bengals. It was another rough week for Cincinnati, the second week in a row where they were projected favorites to win and they ended up losing by another field goal. Something with the Bengals and playing against backup quarterbacks, I don't know. Don't worry though, the Bengals now travel to New York to face off against the Jets in a game where they face many former players and another backup quarterback, this time being old Raven rival Joe Flacco. As of now, the Bengals are still favorites to win, but can the offensive line get together and protect Joe Burrow and the Bengals to get their first win of the season? Last week when I was talking about the Reds, I was talking about how they were close to hitting under 30 games. Well, it has now happened. They are 59-91 heading into October. But on the west side of Cincy, the FCC is still in playoff contention. Their next game is against the Seattle Sounders on Tuesday, September 27th at 10 p.m. Now it's time to head over to campus sports and let's start with the recap. Women's soccer won a tightly contested game last night, beating the Butler Bulldogs 1-0. They now prevail to 7-2-1 on the season and 1-0 in the Big East. They are set to face DePaul Sunday at 1 p.m. Men's soccer tied with Seton Hall and beat Evansville this past week. They are now ranked 19th in the country and are set to play Marquette tomorrow at 7 p.m. The men's golf team placed 13th at the Bearcat Invitational, and their future events are still to be determined. Now it's time for the weekend preview. The women's tennis team faces off at the Hoosier Classic later this afternoon, and the men's tennis team face off at the James O'Connell Memorial Tournament in Dayton this afternoon as well. Good luck to our tennis teams. Well, that'll do it for today on Sports Shorts. Stay tuned next week for more Xavier swim, cross country, and even women's lacrosse. And as always, go X.